Now, I would agree and disagree with this point of view of Chinweazu and Will Farrell. Yes, matriarchy is wits and tricks, while patriarchy is brawn. Wits and tricks are a combination of what is now known as soft skills: compassion, kindness, compromise, warmth, sensuality, sexuality, beauty, romance, dialogue, discussion. All those are wits and tricks. But patriarchy is just brute force. It is either my way or the highway. That's what patriarchy says. So if indeed today the world is being ruled by matriarchy or patriarchy, how come we're having so much crisis as a result of it is either my way or the highway? Patriarchy does not do dialogue, does not do compromise, does not do mutual discussions. Patriarchy does not like mutual benefits. With patriarchy is only I benefit or no one else. But matriarchy is about mutual benefits. Matriarchy is about kindness, compassion, it's about softness, it's about sensuality, it's about sexuality, it's about all the good things of life: prosperity, pleasure, abundance, the things that are referred to as soft skills today. Interpersonal relationships, kindness, especially kindness. I always like to talk about kindness because I know how kindness has shaped my life, and I know how lack of kindness have shaped my life as well. So if indeed the world is covertly matriarchal, how come we are not having more of dialoguing, discussions, compromise, understanding, kindness? How come we are not having more of these skills and discussions at the table? But wars, but conflicts, but banditry, but criminality, but extremism. Extremism has no room for conflict resolution or dialogue or discussions or compromise. So if indeed the world is matriarchal, as Chinweazu and Will Farrell will want us to believe, covertly matriarchal, and we were made to believe is patriarchal, then we should have more of matriarchal characteristics at the table, which is wits, tricks, discussions, compromises, than just pure brute force. So I personally do not really think this is apt for what is playing out in the world today. Matriarchy is still trying to, the female voice is still trying to be heard. The female voice is still trying to call for reason, because the female voice is the voice of reason. So the voice of reason is still trying to be heard in a world that is being ruled by force and brown, which is what patriarchal characteristics are: brown, brute force. Chinweazu calls the idea of dating and courtship like training a horse, because according to him, it is during this time that a woman, having kept a man on a leash by denying him sex and getting him addicted to her by false charms, trains and breaks him to whatever she wants him to become. Courtship and dating is what Chinweazu calls the training period, where a woman trains a man like the way you will train a horse, and then break him to your wits and charms. Well, in my own opinion, I would say that it is a mutual thing. Courtship and dating is supposed to be a period where both the man and the woman understand themselves, know their likes, their dislikes, who they are. Can I live with this person? I personally have never had any long courtship. I always say most of my courtship period were done after marriage. Not that courtship and dating are not the same as far as I'm concerned. And in my culture and tradition, the courtship and dating period are very very minimal, very little. So most of the dating and the courtship, you get to do it after marriage, because that's when you understand even the man you are married to, you understand who that person is, and vice versa. So courtship and dating is a period of mutual understanding. So if Chinwe describes the courtship and dating period as the training period, then I would say that it is mutual training. The man is training the woman, and the woman is training the man. It is not a one-sided thing. Courtship is never a one-sided thing. It is a period where everyone knows one another. So if one person decides to be covertly shady in hiding their characters, hiding their true colors, hiding themselves during courtship, and only reveals themselves after marriage, then that marriage base, if we're going to put such a union, a relationship, under the radar of authenticity, of all the checks of being true to oneself and all that, then it will invariably fail. It may not sustain, because it wasn't laid on the right foundation in the first place. It did not start out well. It does not have the right foundations. It does not have a good start. Any relationship that will be established on false identity or false character, it will eventually crash, because as they always say, the lie can travel as far as it wants, but the truth will always overtake it. So if courtship and dating is actually a training period, then it will be a mutual training period. It's not a one-sided thing. And not forgetting the fact that a lot of women in this society especially, and even outside all over the world, do not get the privilege, do not get the chance to actually even understand that they can manipulate a man by being themselves. They don't know that. So it is not that simple, Mr. Chinwe. I must say, it is not that simple. It is a mutual thing, and that is how patriarchy harms men too, without them knowing. The marriage celebration becomes a celebration for the woman and her friends, and they all congratulate her for having succeeded in getting herself a slave. So you see, actually especially men in my society, this is what you guys are doing. According to Chinwe's book, you are not only making yourself a slave one time, you're making yourself a slave for the second time, for the third time, and for the fourth time. Because if courtship, marriage, and spending money on the wedding festivities and celebration is making you a slave, why are you doing it again? Who in their right senses will want to be a slave? Not once, not twice, but 4 times, and then for the rest of their lives want to continue being a slave. Isn't that a bit off? It doesn't sound normal. If indeed marriage enslaves men, why are they willingly giving their all to go into it? Does it make sense? I would really hope that Mr. Chinwe will explain this to me. Why would any man want to be a slave for the rest of their life? And in the case of Muslim men, not once, not twice, not thrice, but 4 times they want to be a slave. You commit yourself to being a slave. Some things you can never understand, but this I can assure you I understand it. Patriarchy hurts men too. A man on the wedding day waves goodbye to his independence and his coalition of male friends and commit himself to a Sisyphean life, rolling the stone, an act he cannot abandon, because society and government will be checking on him and always ready to shame, jail, or exile him for absconding his duties. As a woman, I would rightly say this: it is the other way around. No man abandons his life, independence, and male friends when they get married. On the other hand, It is women that are forced, coerced, and manipulated into abandoning their lives, their independence, and their coalition of female friends after they get married, due to a lot of reasons that have been fabricated by the patriarchy. Number one, you cannot relate with them. They're not married, they don't know anything, or they will deceive you to leave your marriage, or they will steal your husband, or no, you're married now, you should have married friends, not single friends. A lot of these lies that are fabricated by the patriarchy. And by the way, especially in developing societies like mine, where I come from, once you're married, you do not have the right to even go to visit your parents without your husband's permission. So who lost their independence now? Some women can't even go to the hospital to seek for medical attention without their husband's permission. I have read and heard about a lot of women whom, after they have got married, their husbands will actually change their SIM cards. That is in recent years, since after the advent of GSM mobile networks. Their husbands change their phone numbers because they don't want them to keep relating with the people they used to know. They want them to create a circle of new friends which only the husbands approve of. So who is losing their independence now? I know a lot of women who, when they get married, they spend like 2-3 years without ever stepping foot out of the house because their husbands won't permit them. We've all been raised to not go anywhere, not even visit our parents anywhere, not even visit our own parents without the husband's permission. So who is really losing independence? Are you kidding me? It is the other way around, Mr. Chinweazu. No man loses independence by getting married. On the contrary, women do. They don't only lose their independence, they lose their entire identity. Many women do not have the privilege of continuing to use their surnames after marriage. They have to use their husband's names. That is what losing independence means. Men don't lose their independence with marriage. They never do, they never have.